Well, hello there, all of my silky friends. Yeah, I'm starting early just so I could get the hellos out of the way. Let me make sure I'm on. I have the worst time with this stuff. Um, because I have a lot of information and we're going to go through it. To people who really want to have a conversation about this, I am going to have a members only probably tomorrow night. I need to take some time off, but probably will do that. I haven't decided on a time and 100% for sure. We can discuss that. And if you are part of my members only, we we get crazy. We get crazy. We have fun. It is usually where we blow off steam. So that will probably be either at 6 or 8 tomorrow night. I'm not sure. All right. Let me say hello. Let me go all the way back up to the top. I don't know if Samantha is here yet, but she left me a message earlier. Hiawatha, hello. Um, CJ's in the background. He's got a live coming up there also in about an hour, a little over an hour maybe. And I'm gonna hop on his when I get done here for a little while. And then I have stuff I've got to do. Hello, Grace. Hello, Dre. And Mass Truth. It is good to see you. Um, Just Deb. Hello. Oh, and I skipped over Laura Thompson. Hello. Butterfly. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Carol. Always, always good to see you. I can't believe you've got a minute where you've got, time to even think, Carol. That is one hard-working woman right there. Ruby Red, it is nice to see you. I don't know if I've seen you before on here, but hello and welcome. All right, and I know some people are expecting me to. I don't think I have to have these on, so I'm gonna take this off. I hate earplugs, headphones, everything. I hate it. I have a lot of information, and let me just tell you, probably somewhere, it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you are on Richard Allen is innocent side, or if you are on he's guilty side. If you believe the stuff about Sons of Odin, or you don't, somewhere in this video, I'm probably going to say something to make you angry. Maybe not angry. You're going to disagree with me, all right? But here is the thing. I have always, from the very beginning, I have always tried to be balanced, okay? Just because one person says something and, it sounds good, it sounds right, they bring receipts, I don't 100% buy into it. And same, for every theory, okay? So that's why if you watch my Delphi videos, it's all the spectrum, all right? So you know that I sincerely and respectably, I'll get it right here in a second, respectably consider all opinions and theories. So I know we've all heard them. Man, has this been a week of bombshells? And so some people are all on the, yes, it was definitely the Sons of Odin. We know who's guilty. And then some people are like, oh, this is a bunch of hogwash. This is just a defense. I knew it was going to happen. Shh, shh, shh. It's just a cat. It's just a cat. See what I'm dealing with? Some people think this is just something put out by the defense to muddy the waters. And look, let me tell you something. It could go either way. And I am going to show you the reasons and the things. Again, it is up to you. What I've always told you from the very beginning of starting doing these videos, think. We think for ourselves. We don't take an opinion because, the national media says it's that way. Because if you are believing the regular standard mainstream news, bless your heart. Just bless your heart. Because if you haven't seen that, where they have, completely shown how CNN makes up stuff and a bunch of others, okay? We were born with brains to think, and that is what we are going to do here tonight. Now, what I want you to do is, I probably won't have all the links up today, but probably sometime tomorrow, I'm going to go back and put all these links in the description box if you want to read these articles, because we're going to go through some stuff and some pictures really quickly. So grab onto your britches. Hello, Miss Persevere. Yes, we do. You're right. We have some awesome people in chat. And if y'all want to have another one where it's just open discussion, you want to come back another night, and I won't be doing all the talking, and you can give me your opinions, put that in the comments on this video, because I probably won't see it in chat, but comment on the video, tell me you want to do it. Hey, we can do it. All right. And for everybody else on the replay, do the same. I know it's a Saturday night. Man, I can't say nothing. I know it's a Saturday night. A lot of people are busy, and that's okay. That's what replays are for, right? All right, let me start with the big bombshell. Everybody's talking about it. The memorandum, the document drop. I've done several videos on it already and have discussed it. But I really started looking at some stuff this week. Really taking a deep dive into all aspects, okay? If you look at just one, here's the thing. If you want to read articles and you want to look for news that supports your theory, you can find it. I don't care what theory you have. I mean, at this point, Sasquatch could have come out of the Indiana hills and, done away with those two girls. I'm sure somewhere you can find some information that might validate that, okay? I'm not trying to prove a point. I am trying to investigate and think. So, let me move this over. And let's start with, hey, Samantha, you made it. Good. Let's start with an article. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to skim around on it. But this is about Odinism. Now, I have it on full screen for me, so I cannot see your comments right now, all right? And, okay, this is how, the name of the article, and this is from WTHR, Odinism, How White Supremacists Co-opt Pagan Symbols to Further Racist Agendas in the United States. Boy, is that a mouthful. Basically, they're talking about, the title says it, but if you don't quite understand what they're trying to say, we know there is a group of people called Odins. They're from all different parts of the world. Odinists, their religion is Odinism. It is a Norse religion, and all the Nordic gods, stuff like that, ruins, we've talked about that. But now there is another component, okay? Let me say this. Pure Odinists, if you're going to have, just like pagan, Wiccan, y'all know where I stand. And I'm not afraid to talk about somebody else's beliefs, okay? And I'm never want to disrespect, because I just don't think that's right. Well, there may be one group I would say that to, but when people have a strong belief, it doesn't mean just because you are on a fringe or what people would call a cult, a cult, does not mean that you are into all this crazy, I don't know what I can say, offerings, wink wink, y'all know what I'm saying. So what has happened though is a lot of people who are, a pure, maybe minority religion like Odin's or, Wiccans, pagans, all this kind of stuff. A lot of white supremacists have adopted their religion and put symbols and stuff into their own beliefs that spread hate, okay? And I will say that. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. You're not going to change it. It is wrong. But just because somebody is using symbols or things from a religious belief, I mean, they could, they could also take that from Christianity, twist the scriptures, do whatever, use some symbols, and that's what this article is talking about, okay? We're not crucifying the Odinists for being Odinists. And the beginning of this, like I said, I'm going through quick. We're going to talk about, and it's really a good article. So when I leave the link, you might want to read it or just look it up. It's a new one. Let's start around here. Okay, you can see this. In the early 2000s in Indiana, a racist group, because I don't think I can say that word on YouTube, called the Vinlanders Social Club, who identified as Odinists, formed in Indiana. That grew to be one of the largest and most hardcore groups of its kind in the country. But by the mid-2010s, membership had largely filtered out. However, do look at this. Others remain entrenched in the state's prison system. And, let me tell you from a corrections, y'all know I work in corrections, that is very true. Gangs, not as much in the jail that I work in because it is not a prison, but very much it is a thing. When people go to prison, a lot of times they are forced to choose a group, okay, for protection. They've got to join some kind of and this is one of them. And, we do see that in that document. They talk about that. Okay, now look down here to the second. I don't know if y'all can see my mouse. Not all Norse paganists are white supremacists. The overall desire for white supremacists to claim facets of European paganism is a philosophical harbor for racist beliefs. Took off in earnest in the mid-19th century. Okay, the point is, just because, like I said, you're an Odinist doesn't mean you're a white supremacist, okay? They are two different things, even though some people, like the Vinlanders, will make a mishmash, okay? That's their own personal beliefs, but don't get it confused. Let's go down here to where it says this kind of Nordic mythology fits in well with groups who talked about conquering and being a warrior for your cause and your homeland. Unfortunately, your race. Now, a lot of us people are very patriotic, or some of us, different groups, we're very, I don't know, maybe aggressive. We're very protective of our families and our belief systems, and that's all right. It is when you take it to a far different level, being patriotic is not a bad thing. Being, one of these people who will use violence to promote your cause, in my opinion, not okay. If you see the ticker, nothing, this is all speculation and theory, okay? Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. All right. So this article goes on and it talks about, let's go here, because you're going to hear this term a lot. A more complicated term is asatru. I learned how to say that, which also pops up in the Carroll County filing. That term refers to the general worship of Nordic gods and goddesses, and asatru has been officially recognized as a religion in Iceland since 1972. All right, again, let me go back. Let's make sure we're all on the same page, okay? Odinism. Whether you're Wiccan, pagan, there's so many different sects that I'm not YouTube, I'm not saying that word. sects. There's so many of those, you know, and cults and whatever. What they would refer to as fringe religions. Okay. Yes, I see you, Scott, about the timeline. Yeah. Look, there are so hello for pits. There are so many wonky things with this case. I've done so many videos on the timeline, on the temperature, on, you know, were the girls even in that area at the time. And well, I'm sure that'll come up again. But for tonight, we're going to talk about some things. Now, I understand. I'm not saying, you know, anything about anybody's religion. What I am saying is don't get the two confused. Now, but here is the thing. Let's go back to why isn't this letting me? Oh wait, I don't know what it's doing. I think I just did something bad. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna share with you now. Let's go to. I found this one really interesting. Talking about the American Guard. Yeah. Let's talk about that. All right, this is from the ADL. I believe this is the Anti-Defamation League, if I'm not mistaken. Can y'all see that, or am I just... Okay. I'm looking at this. I have to look on two screens to see it. All right, I came across this. Look at this date, March 2017. All right, and this is talking about, you know, President Trump and, you know, how they were marching. It was a MAGA rally, blah, 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 blah. I am not here to get political. You don't even get me started, okay? All right, and this was a bunch of white supremacists. I want you to look at this picture on the left. Look at all these little V's here. See that? See, and it even comes up. Let me do that again. Vinlanders, Ralliers, Indiana 2017. All right, this is in Indiana. These are the Vinlanders. Now, that's the American Guard shield. Let's go down here to there. This is very interesting. Like I said, a lot of good things. But now, here we see Brian James is actually the one, I believe, that started the Vinlanders. Yeah. There is a whole, well, you can find a lot on him. It says a number of Vinlanders took part in the Indianapolis rally. And yeah. So some other people got all messed up in there. But I wanted you to see one thing. Let's keep going. All right. The head of the Illinois chapter, Joshua Long. You see some of his stuff. It's really, you know, it's really kind of makes me kind of ill. All right. But people do what they want. I'm looking for one specific picture. Okay. And you can see how these people right here, can you see my mouse? I don't know. This guy in the white down here in the white hood, and you can see what is above that. You can see how they kind of connect. Of course, if you are a supremacist group, you would definitely be part of that. Okay, let me find the one I'm looking for. That talks about Seth Peters. There is one in here that talks about, there's a picture of him somewhere. Oh, there we go. I passed it. Okay. Right up here. Let me pull this. Below, one can see Vinlander probate member Patrick Westphal at the MAGA March posing with other March participants and in a Facebook image wearing the Vinlander probate shirt. Okay? Now, the only reason that I'm showing you this is from, again, this is from the Anti-Defamation League. Obviously, let's see. Obviously, they are exposing. You know, that's what they do. They're trying to protect and expose. Hello, Cherry Cherry. And so I just thought it was interesting as I was just researching, okay? I researched a lot of Odinism. It is very much, gosh, I read a book type thing, all about their rituals and ceremonies. It was like, I don't know, almost 200 pages. When you don't understand the lingo and you don't understand the stories, the whatever about these different gods and goddesses, excuse me, then it's a hard read because you're like, huh? But I did not. I'll just tell you straight up, I didn't find anything in there that had to do with any kind of unaliving of people. Now, would they do that? I mean, think about it. Any group of people can go off and do something completely ridiculous, not in the standard line of their belief system. Such as, remember, let me see how to say this. Remember when Christians, and I do say Christians that way, I don't think they have a real understanding of what that word means, but remember when people were going up and blowing up buildings and there were people inside? It was a certain, had to do with babies and laws and stuff, and I don't think I can say the actual word, but there were clinics that, you know, these good Christians, you know, tore down. Boom. It was horrendous. It was horrible. It was a black spot on, gosh, on everything that, you know, Christianity stands for. But in their heads, they were doing the right thing, okay? They thought that was a way, you know. So that's what I'm saying again. All right, just because somebody has a religion that you are not familiar with does not mean that they go and do all this stuff. Do some members maybe go off and, you know, do some really bad things? Of course they do. But you could do that if you were affiliated with a religion or not. Now, so let me go back. I just wanted to kind of build this, what am I doing? This is not what I want. No, I don't want any of this. You are a crazy thing, StreamYard. Why are you doing this? All right. We talked about that. Okay, let's look at just straightly the Vinlanders, okay? We're going to look at this because this is the group, and this, it even says this in the memorandum, all right? Talks about this group. Okay, you see it was formed in 2003. And here are some things, and this is by the SPLC, SLPC, I don't know. It is splcenter.org. This is, again, an organization that is trying to fight against hatred, which is kind of strange. You're fighting against, whatever. I get it. It's kind of interesting. Look down here where it says the Vinlanders relished a reputation for drinking, brawling, and following a racist version of Odinism, a form of ancient paganism once practiced by Vikings. Okay? Now, I will say this, okay? If you go back long time ago and you look at some of the actual Viking rituals and stuff, they did engage in that kind of activity, the unaliving of people. However, Odinism as it is done now does not promote that, as far as anybody knows, okay? I have to take that at face value. As far as I know, everything that I have seen from them written in their stuff does not talk about that. All right, let's listen to what Brian James, he is like I said, he's one of the founders of the group. Our beliefs stem from being deprived of our individual freedoms and from our witnessing of the decline of Western civilization. One of the most obvious and sometimes relevant symptoms of this decline is forced integration and the decline of our towns and neighborhoods based on racial makeup. Okay, so basically he is blaming the downfall of the towns and whatever on minority groups. That's what he stood for. Again, this is his belief, and he started this group. You know, it is a supremacy group. So I just kind of wanted to let you see it in black and white. Let's see, he goes on to say, we will die fighting together for and self-respect in a world that has turned its back on natural law and common sense. So that means if you date outside your race or you have, you know, whatever, apparently, according to Brian, old Bri, you don't have any common sense. Huh. What you think about that? Jeez. All right. As an organization and a tribe, we will do what we have always done. We will thwart and displace those who want to harm us and protect and better those who support us. All right. Pretty much he's putting it out here. We're going to protect what's ours. They don't mind fighting for it. He doesn't spell out, you know, we're going to unalive people, but some people may take it as implied. And, you know, that again, this is in a public, open forum. What does he say in private? I don't know. He may say stuff. I can neither confirm nor deny because I just don't know. Okay, but now this is interesting. This is from Eric Fairborn. Look at the last one. We are sick of the lies, tired of the BS. We are calling you out. Either listen to the truth or fight for your lives for the lie. Well, I'd say that's pretty black and white. Pretty harsh. So, hold on, StreamYard's doing, it's like throwing up or something. There we go. So you can see this is what they are thinking. All right, this is what they are promoting. This is what these groups. Now, do we know that some of the people mentioned are part of these groups? Well, we know Patrick Westphal is, okay? As far as that memorandum goes, you know, whatever the motive of the defense was, that hit. And as you can see from the Anti-Defamation League, he was there loud and proud during, you know, this MAGA thing. Again, not all Trump supporters are white supremacists. That's ridiculous too. But they happened to be there and he was photographed. You can see it, okay? So we can say we know from, again, I think, honestly, you know, Mulder's in a really bad position. You know, now he's got to defend himself. I can't imagine what he's thinking. You know, I don't know. You know, there are some things. Now, if you look at the videos I did a few days ago, we looked at some stuff on his hands. We could see the marks. We could see some very sketchy stuff. that relates to Odinism and also relates to the crime scene. So you kind of, on one hand, people are like, oh, well, it's a slam dunk, that's him. Oh, but wait, there's more. And more stuff to think about, okay? We know that he is an Odinist. He's a proud Odinist. And we're going to get into some other stuff that he does. But being an Odinist, what did we just read? Being an Odinist does not make you a white supremacist. Is he? I don't know. People who live there probably do know. But from what I could see, I don't see that. However, what I do see is his buddy, Patrick. His buddy Patrick is definitely a Vinlander. Now, is Brad? Maybe. Okay? And again, doesn't mean he was there at the scene of the crime. You gotta have more evidence than that, okay? Being somebody that even understand the runes, yes, it looks bad, but what does it actually prove? I mean, you see, there's a lot to this. Let me go back for... Yes, you're right, Carol. A lot of those dudes are wannabes. Most of them probably don't even know what lineage is. Yeah, I'm sure. Let's see. Okay. Very good point, Samantha. In order to get into the Valhalla, and now, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm guessing. One must be a proven warrior. Connect the dots. I did read that. You are absolutely correct. All right. So here we go with, again, these are all points that people use to say they are guilty. Now, do some things, especially when they promote violence, do they make you tend to believe that, this could happen, they could be involved? Well, yeah, it don't look good. It don't look good. But now, let me go back to, I'm going to get rid of some of this anymore. If I can. There we go. I want to show you something, and I don't have to worry about a copyright strike because this is mine. I want to go back to a video that I did, and it's not to really so much for what I'm saying on my opinion, but there is a article from the British Journal of Criminology or something, and I referred to it before. So I am going to try to play for you and make sure it's playing. Something that I went through months ago. All right. We're going to look at Brad Holder. We're going to look at some more pictures. We're going to look at some stuff. But I want you to also look at this and consider. Remember, I am giving you all the different sides. And there are so many things in this memorandum to talk about, but let me go here for just a second. And there we go. Let me make sure this is going to work. Come on. So next, let's go to Reddit. And what I found particularly to be very interesting, yeah, I got it. What I found very interesting about this one is that it comes from the British Journal of Criminology. So let's take a look at what this Redditor said, excerpts from the book. The Ron Logan search warrant affidavit revealed that the FBI believed Abby and Libby's bodies were moved and staged, which we've heard numerous times. Studies suggest that when staging occurs at a murder scene, there is some sort of connection between the victim and the offender, usually familial. Now, let's just stop here for a second. Let me make you understand I am not accusing the families. This is just standard, okay? When you have a minor who is unalived, they look to the family first. So this is, of course, normal, right? Therefore, according to experts, staging is a way for the perpetrator to put distance between the victim and themselves, since their close relationship leads them to be a logical suspect. The offender's aim is to confuse the investigators. Imagine that. Honey, I don't think anybody needed help with confusion in this case. Anyway, they try to confuse the investigators by making them believe that someone else committed the crime. So let's look at motives. According to famed FBI profiler Roy Hazelwood, if the unaliving is staged, the investigator is tasked with determining the motive for the original act and the staging itself. So what they're saying is it makes it more complicated if it's staged, because you have to not only figure out what the staging is about, but you have to figure out the motive for the real perp, okay? What were they really thinking that they're trying to hide? And again, this would be a big red flag as to why you need the FBI or whomever outside agencies to help you. In a little town like Delphi, you are not probably, I'm assuming, trained deeply for this kind of thing. Number one, greed. Let's look into this. The desire for money or property in greed-motivated unalivings, the body is always left in the open to necessitate discovery, and the murder weapon is brought to and then removed from the scene. Now, this was new information to me. If greed was the motive, then the bodies are left out in the open to be discovered, and the weapon brought to the scene and then taken away from the scene. I would really like for someone to explain to me why greed as a motivation for unaliving someone would make you do that. I really don't get that part, but let's go on. Revenge. Ooh. Anger and revenge motivated homicides are most often staged as an well, I can't say any more of that. Has to do with assault. Now, let's look at this. Staging is a primary means of concealing the true perpetrator of the crime, who most often has a close relationship with the victim. Now, it doesn't have to be family, but it does have to be a close relationship. That kind of makes you change your thoughts on who the likely perp is. Fittingly, if contacted by the police, the stager will attempt to steer the investigation away from themselves by being overly cooperative or extremely distraught. Based on this information, this is something that makes me look at RA and say, oh, I don't know. All right. Let me go back to y'all. I don't know what's up, StreamYard. What's up with you? I don't know. You're acting cray-cray tonight. Okay, so did y'all... Let me take these out. I can't hear myself. Did y'all catch that? Again, I didn't want to have to pull up that source and all that kind of stuff when I had already done it. But basically, what it is saying is that when you have a staging, all right, that the law enforcement has said, everybody has said involved with this case, this was staged. So did you hear that? Okay, then law enforcement has two jobs. You have to figure out what the staging is all about, and that, based on that, that tells you about the perpetrator, okay? What kind of perp, okay, listen, what kind of perp would stage something? And when we're talking about this case, we're talking about the F on the tree. We're talking about, all these things, all of these runes. We're talking about the branches. Now, the branches. The way that the things are, okay? If the crime scene that the defense laid out is correct, then there are definite Odinistic symbols. But according to, basic crime journals and investigative techniques, you're looking at this, you're saying this is staged. Who somebody has to know, okay? If you're going to stage it to make it look like an Odinist, you have to know something about Odinism. You have to know something about runes. You have to know something about their symbols and all that. So, what kind of perpetrator committed this crime and knew enough about Odinism to frame them for it? Okay, this is one school of thought. And you remember, it talked about the motivations, greed, revenge, and I forgot the last one. Go back and watch it. It is the video that says, it's spilling the tea, and it's talking about, it says close relationships, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember. Anyway, if you want to really read that again, go back and look at that. But when you're looking at a staging, you have to consider that it is not what it seems, okay? Now, that being said, I have a real problem with this, too. Let me take a breath and see what you're, let me see what you're saying. I don't want to miss anything important. Gosh, there's, let's see. Stasanov? Am I saying that right? Greed or money would be due to the fact that they believe the sacrifice would bring them money and prosperity, which is what some of them believe. It could be. It could be. The F in upward position is fortune. Okay. Now, again, I am not going to say that every perpetrator is the most brilliant in the world, okay? There are some people that, maybe do a sacrifice or a ritual or whatever and leave all their stuff out in the open, all right? There are some people, or even commit crimes, and they're, how many criminals have left their wallet at the scene of the crime? But when you're talking about a crime like this, you would have to be extremely dumb, in my opinion, to be an Odinist and leave all of that symbology. Is that a word? Symbology? Yeah. Symbolism. Symbolism. I don't know. You'd have to be short a few brain cells to do that and leave it there on purpose. It's like a calling card. Hey, unless, now the only reason that you would feel comfortable in doing that is if you felt that your group had enough power to keep everything quiet. Well, according to the memorandum, they weren't really looked into. So there you go. Did they have enough power and influence in that area? Do they to blatantly do something and take credit for it and believe that they're not going to get prosecuted? I mean, it is possible, all right? According to traditional crimes, investigation, though, we would have to look at, all right, who knows? Why do they want to? Okay, what is the motive of the perpetrator? They want to unalive two girls for whatever reason, and they want to pin it on somebody else. They leave these blatant signs. Who would do that? Who knows enough to do that? Who has a motivation to do that? Okay, that's on one side of the spectrum. On the other side, as you were saying in the chat, if it is a ritual for a fortune, prosperity, whatever, and they don't think that they're going to get caught or be held accountable, I don't know. This kind of ritual would not be done in the middle of the afternoon, though, I can tell you for sure. Not gonna happen. You are right so much, Hiawatha. Leave all the Odinistic stuff out, and you still have Liggett lying, omitting witness statements. That itself is cause for a Frank's hearing. If all of that is true, absolutely. I know traditionally Frank's hearings don't usually, it doesn't usually fly. But in this case, if that part of it, taking all the Odinism out and all this other stuff, Yeah, it don't look good. It doesn't look good. And I'll tell you what else doesn't look good, and that is Amber's testimony, her affidavit. Okay, yes, Cop Facts. Nice to see you, Cop Facts. We wait. It's time for the prosecution to do something, anything. In my opinion, they're going to have to. They are going to have to do something. Now, so we have these two factions. We have the one that, we've seen what some of the Odinists are capable of, the white supremacy, and then you're like, yeah, but these girls were white. We'll get to that, unfortunately. We read some things, well, the memorandum talks about being race traitors, okay? Could it have been done as a, we talked about this, revenge, or as a discipline, or as a threat, it is possible. You can't take out the fact that there are some people who do things that are just beyond comprehension. Like, why? Why? Some people are so full of anger and hatred that they will do all manner of things. And we're going to talk about the possibility, okay? Remember, we've got two sides here. And let's say if the Odinists did not do this crime, but are being blamed for this crime, again, let's think, who is capable of doing this, that knows about this, who would want to frame them? Well, it sure didn't get investigated from what we know, as much as it should have. All right, now, Laura Thompson, yeah, you know what, I hate to say this. I don't know if we'll ever know all the details behind this. I agree. There's so much. Again, you start talking Delphi, and it's just rabbit hole after rabbit hole. But let's look at some things that I did find. Okay, so now we've talked about why the Odinists, we've talked about the white supremacy, we've talked about the Odinists and their religion, and why that is not like a normal part of their religion. And let me say this before I get off of this part of it. The thing that I hate the most about this whole thing coming out and the Odinist is there are a lot of people who are treating this case and this information like the 90s satanic panic, okay? And they're discounting it. It's just a bunch of crap, this is ridiculous, this is just the defense throwing out, their Hail Mary pass, and, etc., etc. Again, it could be. What bothers me, though, is that if this is true, and you have mainstream media and a lot of people discounting it, just like back in the 90s, just because there were people that were panicking over something that wasn't true, in those cases, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, because it most certainly does. And it happens a lot. Way more than you even want to know about. So, I don't have a problem with it. If they prove that, this was all a defense tactic, I don't care. What I do care about, first and foremost, is the truth. And what I also care about is that we don't discount this and think that every case that has something to do with occult practices and beliefs is just shoved under the rug because it's all part of this, it's just ridiculousness. This is just a court tactic. This is not true. Because there are very many true victims of this kind of thing. All right. I know that for a fact. That being said, let's look at some things. We've looked at all the reasons why it might not be, why it's just a big bunch of fluff from the defense. Hey, really good defense, though. If it's just a tactic, it's really good. But let's look into some things. Again, I'll make some of you mad. It's the way it is. We're thinking. Remember? We think here. All right, let me get rid of some of this other stuff. I'm going to close out my video. All right, we're going to go here. Now, let's look at some things that I did find on Mr. Holder's Facebook. Yeah. All right. This was, let me see if I can make this bigger. He has a lot of these quotes. It's motivational quotes. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, you know, we all use motivation of some kind, whether you're looking at scriptures or whether you're looking at other stuff. You know, some people look at horoscopes, whatever. This is his daily message. But this is on February 13th. Today, think about how necessity has shaped your life. Was there a time when you did something because you absolutely had to? Also, think of times you came to endings in your life because you were blocked or restricted. Again, it does not mean anything, just very interesting, the date and the situation, okay? And then also on this date, the day they were found, you know, Brad is talking about his energy and testosterone is through the roof. Now, he was working out, okay? So I'm not saying that happens. That's a completely normal thing. But if you are looking for things, this is what you would be looking for. Now, this one, I'm not gonna lie. This is disturbing. I was really disturbed by this, and let me show you why. This is on Facebook, so hey, it's public. If you don't want something on social media, then don't put it there. Right? We all have things we wish we hadn't done or said, at least said, on social media. I know I have. But I don't know Benjamin Reed, but he said the sad part in almost all of Odinism, those kind of sacrifices that were made were almost actually all volunteers during rituals. So it would be almost out of characteristic for Odinites to ritually unalive these two Delphi girls, would it not? And he's, you know, trying to support Brad. Okay, this is the part that really disturbs me. Let's read it again, part of it. Almost, actually, almost, I think what he means is, those kind of sacrifices that were made were almost, actually, almost. Did y'all catch that? Almost, actually, all. So, it's not actually all, it's almost. Yeah, almost. Almost all. Were volunteers during rituals. So it would almost be out of characteristic for Odinites to ritually unalive those two Delphi girls. It would be almost out of characteristic. Does almost bother you as much as it bothers me? He's not saying it wouldn't. What he's not saying, that I wish he was saying, is, you know, we don't even practice that kind of stuff. Well, that would be out of character for anybody in here. Now, almost all of them were volunteers for the sacrifices. I don't know who's lining up to be y'all's. I don't know. It's worrisome. It's almost out of character, but not entirely. I'm just saying. I think this was one of the most disturbing things I found. You know, and Brad's, you know, thank him for the support. Yeah, well. Now, again, this does not make him guilty. They're having a conversation about, you know, obviously, Mr. Holder has been accused very heavily of some really terrible things. And so this guy is saying, you know, he's trying to say, well, it's not really, you know, characteristic of this, almost not. So this does not say Brad did it at all. It's just a conversation. It's just one that makes me uncomfortable. Almost. All right. So again, I know you've probably seen this, but if you will remember, and I didn't pull it up, in some of my pictures from Saturday or Sunday or Monday or Tuesday of this week, you see the branches and some of the things, the pictures that were taken by Mr. Holder in the ground resemble that. All right, here is a picture of Abby and Logan. I mean, to me, they look cuddly. I don't think a whole lot of people now are really saying that there wasn't a relationship there. Now, remember, she was very young. I'm not saying it was that kind of relationship, an illegal one. But obviously, this seems to prove that they were in a kind of dating sweetheart relationship. Just for those who say, "Oh well, we don't even know." Well, here's a picture of it. All right. Now this, I found this was very interesting. This person's name is withheld. But now, look. I don't like any of this. I posted a pic of BH on my site. That post with my name on it was then posted by someone on an SK blog. The cop messaged me on December 2nd, 2018 and asked me, "Where did you find this pic?" It was in my downloads from ages ago. I then discovered that he had a Facebook profile, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. I have not looked at that one, y'all, at all. The cop messaged me and said that BH is his #1 person of interest. He wants more info, and it gives the information about the police. So this was back in 2018. Now, this contact Major Todd Click, blah, blah, blah. So this actually was a thing. Now, this is a year later, but this was an older thing. Now, so it shows that he was the assistant chief of police in Rushville, Indiana, assigned the case in August 2018 to assist. So I'm not sure. I've never heard his name come up, okay? If y'all have, please let me know. Now, this one is even more disturbing. I think this is Ferenczi, Greg Ferenczi. Am I saying that right? Man, I hate this. I just found this out. So y'all, please, let me know what this is about. This is Detective Greg Ferenczi. Also worked for the FBI Indiana Task Force. He is mentioned in the new document release as one of the 3 Indiana LE that were convinced Odinism was involved. He was lured out of the Indianapolis FBI building in 2021 by a man throwing Molotov cocktails and then shot and unalived in the street. 2021, same year, the FBI was asked to step down from the Delphi case. Well, ain't that something? I've always wondered if he was the FBI agent in Delphi on that day back in 2017. What was the undercover drug task force working on? His choice of clothing in this picture has always captured my attention. I didn't know this about him. Did y'all? I mean, man. Okay, let me say this too. When you work in FBI, police, law enforcement, whatever, you make enemies. Okay, could have been a completely different case. The reason that he was drawn outside and basically assassinated. But still, you have to wonder if he was on the case and the FBI was asked to leave in 2021 and then, he was... It's a little sus, and I feel really, really bad for this guy. I don't know who he was. Don't know anything about him. Would love to hear if any of y'all know anything about him. Um, but again, it is very disheartening. Um, Especially as he was one of the ones who believed this. Now, and let me just say this, okay? We talked about somebody staging it to blame it on the Odinists. Usually, the stager is somebody that is just trying to pin it on somebody else. But this guy is FBI. Now, I'm just saying, the FBI, from what I understand, they have a pretty good training program, right? So I'm thinking the FBI would, they would absolutely know that when you see a scene staged, it's, done to throw people off from the real perpetrator. But if he still thought that it was Odinism, there's got to be a reason, okay? Maybe more. Maybe he didn't think it was staged, even though they were saying it was staged. But what if they just said it was staged to start that from the beginning? If you find out, well, we're not going to tell you what the staging is about, but we're just going to, say it was staged so that when you find out, we can go back and say, oh, it was staged. It wasn't really those people. Hypothetical. I know. But again, think about all the things, all right? All the things. Don't marry one theory or narrative and stick with it. Keep an open mind. So, did he really think it was the Odins and that wasn't really staged and he was still believing that, the Odinites, or was he just inept? I'm going to say FBI probably not inept. They're not always right, okay? He could be getting it completely wrong. But I thought it was interesting how he passed away, Kind of like the Boys on the Tracks thing. People just drop like flies in that case. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that stuff. Oh, we're going to skip over this. That's okay. Now, this right here was sent to me. It is, I was told, a Freemasonry apron. Or I don't know if it's Scottish Rite or Freemasonry. Anyway, very interesting. I've had this for a while. We're going to talk about this, though. We're going to talk about this picture. All right, y'all know about the Freemasons. Let me tell you, for the 100th time, I do not believe that every Freemason is a bad person. Okay? I do not believe that. I do not believe that a lot of them even know what higher up people in Freemasonry know. Okay? So don't come at me for that reason. If you've got another reason, whatever. But not for that one. But interestingly enough, I'm going to make this bigger because I want to look at this guy's apron. Here is Brad, Holder, and Levi. I'm assuming, I don't know. Y'all know Brad Holder. Is this his son? I assume it's his son. Obviously, the same last name. Let's keep looking. Y'all, this just looks kind of bad. I'm looking at this, though. All right. I'm trying to decipher what this apron on Brad is all about. Now, the white one on the left, that is an apprentice. That is a Freemason. When you go in new, you're not a Mason. Like, you're just learning. You come in with a white apron. And as you rise through ranks and whatever they do, you get, different symbols on your apron. You get stuff like that. All right. So, Brad, obviously, he's got some stuff on here. And I'm trying to look. You see this little, I don't know. I think, and I'll show you why I think this. This little symbol, now the 33 above here, I don't know for sure this is what it means. I don't know. There are degrees. So I don't know if that is a degree or if it is the number of the lodge, because it does say, so I'll show you another picture. But this little symbol right here at his crotch was a hard one to figure out. And I'll show you what I think it is. So I just wanted you to look at that real good. I wanted you to see this. This is Tipton Lodge, number 33. Free and accepted Masons in Logansport. All right, so it's Lodge 33. What does that apron mean? I don't know. I don't know if it's just the name. Although I don't know if it's a number, but what do I know? I'm not a Mason. So now we have established that Brad Holder is Freeman. As we know, historically, a lot of people, in a lot of different professions, in my area, a lot of the clergy are Freemasons. A lot of the traditional, standard religions, Methodist, Baptist, whatever. A lot of them are Freemasons. There are also, in my area, a lot of law enforcement people who are Freemasons. It seems to go a lot with law enforcement. But by far, all professions, okay? So, I mean, I don't know. Why would Brad, if he is practicing, Odinism, it almost seems like, why would you want to be a Freemason too? I don't know. But here is the connection. Now, I did find this. This is on July 27th, 2016, and I just wanted you to see this. He is talking to Patrick Westphal, and myself have been talking bind runes. What to do? What do you guys think of so many possibilities? All right, clearly he is establishing a friendship with Patrick Westphal, which we know from the Anti-Defamation League page that we read and showed the MAGA rally that Westphal is part of the Vinlanders, which is a white supremacist group. So, we know that they're buddies, okay? They're talking about doing bind runes. A rune is part of their, I guess the closest thing that I would say that you would understand, or, understand how it works, it would be kind of like a spell, incantation, whatever. So that's what they use these runes for. Now, I know you can't see them really well on here. Let's take a look at these. Again, this is, and when you're talking about runes, a lot of different religions, and sects, SECTS, and cults will use, some of these, all right? Or some variation thereof. But you see, this first one is protection, irresistibility in battle. This has to do with combat. Let's go down in here. Camouflage and deception. And these two. Put fear in the enemy. Both of those. Now, if you go on down, let's pull this one up. Powerful binding of prisoners. You see how you have that X on there on one side? That's very interesting. And then you have one here to get free from binding. But they're talking about, all right, remember, they were just talking about binding, using runes to bind. Very interesting. Then you've got, why can't I get this up any further? You've got good health, good luck. Kind of see the F on that one too. That would be like fortune, maybe the one on the far left. Have that little F there. Healing, peace, all that kind of stuff. Very interesting. Okay, very, very interesting. Again, let's go back. What did he say? Patrick and myself have been talking bind runes What do you guys think? So many possibilities. What are they trying to bind? You know? Is it binding stuff so they can gain wealth, or is it more nefarious? I mean, I don't know. But that was, let's look at the date again. That was in 2016, July 27th, 2016. All right. Again, there could be a lot of reasons. All right. We've talked about the reasons why, Brad Holder and that whole group, that whole thing should just be, thrown out of our heads. It's just staging. It's a tactic. It has nothing to do with them. We've talked about that reason. So let's talk about the reasons that he could be. All right. We're going to look at balanced. Let's go back here. Now, if you will look, by the way, let me show you this. Look at the price on this thing. $1,078 for this apron and all these little doodads that, you can put on it. I mean, I don't know. That seems really expensive to me. I don't know what y'all budget is, but I ain't get spending $1,000, $1,078 on a danged apron. But that's just me. Now, if you will look at these little things over here, you remember I was looking at, kind of the crotch area of that other picture, and we had that funky little thing. It was all blue, though. The closest thing I could find, I'll show you. This is like a little cornucopia thing, and I don't know how close we can get in here. But see that? Alright, that's the closest in shape I could find. But let's go on. Okay, you see how the aprons, they have different symbols at the bottom. They may have different symbols at the top. They have different meanings. But these ones at the bottom talk about maybe different things that you do, or your rank or offices, that you hold. There are some people, this one right here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that is for treasurer of the lodge. I guess it's the lodge, the money keeper. And so that is the symbol on this apron. That is what it said on this description, okay? If they're wrong, that's, they're wrong. But it said this one is a treasurer. So I guess when you go in, you can tell who's who does what. All right? It's on their aprons. Now, when I looked at that little cornucopia and thing, and that was the closest I could find to that, and I'll show you something else that I think it could be. It talks about the wages, and clearly it's not like a regular job, but it talks about the wages being corn, oil, and is it wine? I think. Let's look at let me make this a little bit bigger. Hold on just a second. Let me get back to here. Have I lost y'all yet? Let me just look real quick here, because I have hello, I have I never say your name right. I of Apophis. How are you? Man, I'm gonna have to go back and read all of this. There's so much. There's so much. Man, I hate that I'm missing the chat, y'all. Dang. You are amazing. Let me just tell you that. Y'all are amazing. All right. So we're talking about the Masons. All right. What are the types of Masonic aprons? When you join a lodge and complete the first degree, you become an entered apprentice. See, this is what I was talking about. You receive your first apron, which is made of plain white lambskin. All right, and then it talks about decorations for those brethren that take on more senior roles in lodge. Join appendant Masonic bodies and serve those. The colors and decorations become even more ornate. All right, so it talks about, Blue Lodge, Freemasonry, etc., etc. Let's look at, again, lodge officers and masters, different members of the Grand Lodge, district deputy grand masters, and district education officers. Okay, so you see, they all know what this means when they see it, and this comes from the Grand Lodge of Ohio. All right, this is on the website. All right, now the only other thing that I thought that little funky thing on Brad's apron could be, if it's not that cornucopia type thing, is oil. Because, you know, it kind of had that funky round thing in the point at the top. Corn, wine, and oil. So if it was all colored in, let's read about this. Alright, this comes from, again, this is all from Masonics sites. This is of the book that I swiped this from in 1929. The Hebrews anointed their kings, prophets, and high priests with oil mingled with the richest spices. So this is all. They have also anointed themselves with oil on all festive occasions. Why can't I talk? All right. Let's look at this. This is Universal Co-Masonry. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. The olive oil is symbolic of strength, for it was used by the ancient athletes as an ointment to increase the bodily vigor of light, because possible use in lamps of health, because practicable for food and medicine, while the balm means freedom from corruption and having the sweet savor of virtue. The ceremony is still used in some of the high degrees of Freemasonry, and is always recognized as a symbol of sanctification or the designation of a person so anointed to use to a sacred use or to the performance of a particular function. Hence, it forms an important part of the ceremony of installation of a high priest in the order of high priesthood. Okay, so this is kind of like, sounds to me like what we would call, when you're consecration. Okay, that would be like more of a Catholic Christian term, consecration. It's a designation of the person so anointed to a sacred use. Is always recognized as a symbol of sanctification. There you go. I found that interesting. So what does that mean on Brad's apron? Is he set aside for a particular use? Is it like it says up here, for vigor and strength and all that stuff? Very, very interesting, I guess, is what I have to say about that. So, now we're back onto the part, y'all. Y'all want to make you mad about the Freemasons, but I'll just tell you, I could do so many videos on Freemasons and some of the stuff that has been involved, okay, in that. But what I will say is, if you go back to other videos, or you just look, don't even listen to my videos, just go online, go on YouTube and Google, Freemasonry and some of the vows that they take. Again, you cannot tell on your brother. So now we got like three things. We've got a possible perp. We got the staging, who they blamed it on. And then, are the Freemasons involved in this? Because then you've got law enforcement potentially compromised. If you're all in a brotherhood, all right? What do you do? If, and I'm saying if, Mr. Holder was involved in any way, shape, or form, and he is a Freemason, if his brothers, okay, his law enforcement brothers, or his whatever you're into brothers, are also Freemasons, they are not going to tell on you either, okay? So, what you have is a lot of tentacles, okay? You do. You have a lot of tentacles. And I think, whether love him or hate him, what Doug Carter said, at least in that part, is true. You've got so much going on here that it's hard to say, are they covering up for a deed done by one or more of the brethren? Or are they always off every single time? Or are they staging it? Trying to blame it. Let's just blame the Odinists, Let's blame them because there's this wild group. Nobody understands them. They're rough. They're violent. People believe that. We all know. Yeah, let's just blame them. But then you have one more thing before I, you know what? This is gone way shorter than I even thought. Uh, one more thing about them. Uh, you could look at it as kind of a throwaway group. Yeah, let's just blame them. But then you come back to the testimony of Amber, who says that Brad admitted this. Now, he tells her, right, further on in the affidavit, according to the defense, he tells her about Westfall. Now, I've just shown you visual proof that Westfall is a Vinlander, is a white supremacist. All right? Prone to, those groups always prone to violence, okay? Libby and Abby were white. Why were they a target? It also goes into that. We know that, according to the defense, they say this was potentially in kind of in retaliation, retribution, was it whatever, towards Anna, because they say that, no, my phone won't stop this, because they say that she was dating outside her race. So that was a big problem. If you're a racist in Indiana, or really anywhere, and you come on the white supremacist, that is a problem. All right? Not gonna lie, that's a problem. They usually do not unalive white children, okay? Why, I don't understand why it wasn't her. That if it had anything to do with that at all, why wasn't Anna the target? Why the girls? Now, we know that Brad and Patrick, we just saw it, they're friends. They're doing all this stuff together. They're making big plans. There was plenty of Facebook posts of them prior to this. But then they have a falling out. Patrick's no longer seen on Brad's stuff, so we know that something happened there. Could it have been, as the defense alleges, that Amber said that Brad told her, it's like he said, she said, her affidavit said Patrick told her to be very careful, that he could not protect her from Patrick, that, not to say anything. And so, it kind of does lead you to believe that maybe, potentially, the defense has a point, and that the falling out between Brad and Patrick, was it over this unaliving? Was it because of Abby and Libby, and, that he kind of broke code by going after white children? I don't know. Interestingly enough, during the time of the Flora fire, oh man, I'd have to pull that up again. Let me see if I can even find that. Let me show you the map. And this came from, all right, let's see here. Hold on. Why can't I get this? All right. This is from Yazidon. This is interesting, okay? It says November 20th, 2016, Brad Holder posted to Facebook with Patrick Westphal. The post reads, "We had a blot today here at, I don't know, is this Jaeger? Tierson or Patrick Westphal's house." This is another name that was used. "Thanks, Rachel Miller, for coming out. Hail the gods, hail Odin's children, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Hail to all my brothers and sisters online." A blot refers to a ritualistic sacrifice. Patrick Westphal lived at 218 South Division Street in Flora, Indiana at the time of the Flora arson and are pictured at Westphal's residence. The two belong to the Vinlanders. Yes, we know that. But look at this map. Check this out, y'all. Okay, here's Galen's house up here in the top left corner. And then, well, would you look at that? Would you just look at that? Remember that? Huh. 1, 2, 3. Wait, I can't mouse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. At least not more than, doesn't look like it's more than 10 houses away from Galen's. Huh. Because remember, Galen was right up, close to the corner here. And then Patrick. Huh. We didn't know about that. I don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? That really kind of threw me for a loop. I'm losing power here. I don't know why. I think my brains are losing power too. Come to think of it. But yeah. So, I'm just gonna say this. It is highly sus, to say the least, that he was so close to I think this is what has happened. He was extremely close to Galen. So in the defense's defense, are they right? You see what I'm saying? You have to look at all of it. And it's like, how much can we prove? All right? Can we prove that it was just staged? This is all a defense tactic. I mean, it's a great one. But then you look at some of, Holder's stuff and you have to wonder, do they have a point? We got some testimony. We're not even going to talk about the, imaginary professor. That whole debacle. And the whole, stuff between Liggett and Leesenby. We talked about that, and I'll probably talk about it again. There's enough crap in there for the other stuff, but yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, you're going to always have, in this, because of these documents, you're always going to have one group that says it's just the defense, it's just a tactic, it's ridiculous, and this is why. Very valid points, okay? Not saying it's not a defense tactic, because, again, you got the staging, and that completely messes up a crime scene. Anytime it's staged, if it's for real staged, messes up the whole theories of what's going on in a crime scene. But then you got all this other evidence that make you think, well, I see these other people are involved in, especially Westphal, in nefarious activities. And there are some questionable posts and questionable things and testimonies against them. So, yeah, I just want you to be able to look at all sides, okay? That's what I said from the beginning. Look at all sides, and then make a decision, or maybe you can just make the decision to keep searching, all right? Just keep searching. Let's learn more. Let's not discount the Odinists as potentially being perpetrators, but let's not buy into it either. Let's figure out who else would want to frame them, or is it that just it's so true? I don't know. Margaret, who is Holder? Okay. I think they're talking about Brad Holder. He is the one that is in these defense, this memorandum that the defense dropped, that said that basically blames the unaliving of Abby and Libby on him and his associates Patrick and Elvis. So, and there's a lot of details in that, but that's who we're talking about. The defense lays him out as the perpetrator. But once again, we're back to square one. Even if you think R.A.'s guilty, I don't think, never have, that he did it alone. If you're looking at Brad, let's say you believe R.A.'s innocent, you say it's all Brad. I'm going to tell you something, it still wasn't one person. And it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon. I'm going to say that, to me, is not theory. If that crime scene is the way that it looks, and I've said this over and over in many videos, I don't see them being there that afternoon. Maybe being brought at 2:30 a.m. when the screams were heard, or whatever. Do not see that crime happening in the middle of the afternoon, so close to the bridge, where people supposedly were. Especially if you are doing a ritual unaliving. It's a ceremony, okay? It's a ceremony. You can't do that without people noticing. It's not like they're whispering. There's usually more people involved, so there you go. And, they also tie it to the Flora fires. I'll tell you, that is sus, Man, that's some interesting stuff that Meow put out. Okay. Y'all have had such a good, man, like I said, I wish I was just in the chat. Y'all are killing it in here. Absolutely killing it. I'm glad to see so many of you in here. And I'm pretty sure that I really want to highlight a lot of stuff that y'all are saying. I love this. I'm going to say this, Kelly. Yes, don't forget, it's about power to you. Yeah. Yeah. Makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Really, really glad to have so many of you there are great creators in here. I don't even know who I've missed. Great creators, great people that always show up, a lot of great, and y'all are so smart. You're just so smart. Some of y'all, I think I've told some of y'all privately, you need to have your own channel. You're far ahead of what I'm caught up with. So tell me what you think. Do you want to have just a discussion about all this information? I've heard rumors that there's more stuff coming out. I feel like the prosecution's going to have to do something. The defense has now put them in a situation where they're going to have to, I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I don't know what you do in this case. But again, let me caution you to think for yourself, research for yourself, listen to different podcasters. It doesn't matter if their opinion, if you agree with their opinion, sometimes you can learn a lot, okay? You can learn a lot from other people. Keep an open mind, I'm not saying if you're the kind of person that sways with whatever, person you're listening to, then maybe don't listen to them. Maybe just research yourself and figure it out. But as long as you have a good, strong head on your shoulders and you like to think and you like to consider all sides, then I would suggest listening to a lot of different creators and people, reading, and tell me what you think, okay? Which way do you lean to? Are you leaning towards R.A.? We've got so many camps. R.A. is guilty, 100%, did it by himself. RA is guilty, but he didn't do it by himself. RA is innocent and being railroaded. Um, and had absolutely nothing to do with anything. Then you've got RA is involved, but there's other people involved. Now you got the Odinists and the staging. Like, it just keeps going on and on and on. So, yeah. I'm very, very interested in what EOA says and Cop Facts and some of you other great creators. I think I saw Ruckus in here somewhere. I'm going to shut up for now because, and support for Stefa, with Stefa, that is, hello Stefa. Geez, I'm going to read all this stuff, and I want to know what you think. Comment below. If you want another open discussion, hey, if some of you, I'm not talking about, my trolls, but if some of you who have opinions or channels or whatever, and you want to come on panel, please, you can email me at silkyandsouthern@gmail.com, or you can put a comment below this video once the live is over. And, I can't put open links up anymore because of the trolls, but I would be glad to hear. Look, I'm not scared of anybody's opinion that opposes mine. I'm not. Because I'm going to tell you something. You can tell me your beliefs, and if there are enough facts, I will change my opinion. But I am not going to change my opinion just because I'm listening to something that you're saying. So I'm also not going to debate and have a heated argument. I'm not about that. I'm about let's work together. Unlike the people in Delphi who covered this case to start with and kicked out the FBI. Let's work together, right? Let's find out the truth. I do not want to see, again, I can't imagine what Brad Holder's going through right now. And on the chance, and there's a very real chance, okay, that he's innocent, that he was framed, that this is a bunch of hooey. On that, the chance that happens, I mean, his life has got to be miserable right now. And I started this whole journey by saying, hey, don't, cut Richard Owl and his family a break, because they don't seem to be involved. And, a year later, here I am. So, yeah, let's not say that anybody is guilty. The defense says he's guilty, but he hasn't had a trial, all right? There can be a lot of explanations, even for the posts, all right? So let's not crucify anybody yet. Let's find out some more information. I appreciate so much all of y'all. You're great. You're absolutely wonderful. Let me see. I'm gonna go back and read. I don't wanna ignore anything. But yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think on this. And again, I'm gonna have a members only probably tomorrow evening. Most of the time we just cut up and have a good time because we need to blow off steam. But if my members want to talk in depth about this, I'll be, whatever y'all want. It's your time. Anyway, I am going to leave you now because, honest to goodness, I have talked too dang much and I'm tired. And I want to read what you have to say. Thank you so much for being here. Use your heads, right? Use your heads more than just a glasses holder. And listen to all sides. Keep an open mind. Stay safe. And whatever you do, just stay silky.